If you want to improve your pronunciation in English, there's one thing that you need to do really well. And if you don't do this really well, everything else falls through because this one thing is foundational. What is it then? Pronunciation starts with good listening skills. It doesn't start with pronunciation workouts or exercises, although when it comes to making pronunciation visual, I'm all in. I love using props and objects and being creative to help my learners improve their pronunciation by using different tools and everyday objects. I love that. But it's not where good pronunciation starts. And here's why. This is how our brains are wired. What happens is you cannot pronounce what you cannot perceive. Let that sink in for a minute. You cannot pronounce what you cannot perceive. Let's unpack this idea, shall we? What studies in psycholinguistics and cognitive linguistics have shown is that pronunciation is conceptual before it is articulatory. What does that mean? In other words, pronunciation starts in your brain before it starts in your mouth. Let's make this a little more practical. Okay, think of the short I sound, and the long E sound. For many English learners, especially my fellow Brazilians, we just have the long E. We don't really have the I sound. I mean, yeah, in general. So many learners will pronounce live, I live in, as leave. As a teacher, I remember so many times trying to help my learners say live. I live in. Of course, the context is clear if I say I live in Brazil, for example. People will understand that I'm trying to say live. But, you know, let's focus on the difference between sounds here so you can understand my point in this video. So, when I say live and my learners continue to say leave, that means they are not really perceiving that sound. So I could try to help them pronounce that sound differently in their mouth, and that would be helpful. But then the next day, they'll go on to say leave and leave because they haven't had enough time to process this new sound. Remember, when we're learning a second, third language, we filter everything through the lens of our native language, our mother tongue. And so for many learners, they're going to categorize these sounds based on the sounds of their first language. And so, even if I keep telling them these sounds are different, if they cannot perceive that difference, if they cannot distinguish between leave and live, chances are they're going to pronounce live as leave. And this is why becoming a good listener is essential because honestly, I think many learners, myself included, we're so excited about talking, about speaking, that we don't take time to listen to how people produce sound. We often forget that being a good listener and spending focused attention on a sound, a feature of the language that we want to master, is essential. So before you beat yourself up and say, my pronunciation sucks, I am not good at this, have you taken time to listen to how people speak? Remember that learning a new language is really an endeavor that will require from you a lot of focused attention. It is something hard in this day and age. Focus, right? In this age of so many distractions and everything is a quick fix, right? I'm sorry to tell you, I don't have any quick fixes for your pronunciation, but I do have a I shouldn't say remedy, but a solution to your struggle. Perhaps start listening with more attention and care. To wrap up, I should just say there is a lot of wisdom in being quick to listen and slow to speak. Maybe that's today's takeaway from this video. Be a good listener. I'll try my best.